Hello guys and welcome to our channel. This is Paper Roll. In today's video I want to talk about the latest balance patch on 26 September. So it was a directed balance toward PvE, it's not World vs World or PvP yet, so we're still stuck with overpowered crazy stuff and bar creep like relics like Relic of Hakim, some classes, some skills, stuff like that, so we're gonna have to wait. However, for PvE there was some changes to affect our builds. So I was checking the notes and all what I found was a nerf to a small trait for Soul Beast, which bar build, so it's not really that relevant, it's only affect instant gameplay like raids and stuff like that, and Neurotoxin, the Unleash Ambush skill for Dagger for Untamed. And it was expected to be nerfed, it was a bit heavy on damage, they left the power damage untouched, which is quite nice. I don't think it really needs this much, but tuned the condition damage in a way, reduced the stacks basically. And all in the PvE only. However, later that night I was playing Druid because I wanted to kill things fast and it have insane damage as you have seen in my builds, which I explained the entire thing, full guide from gear, traits, even rotation, stuff, everything. I even compared the builds to each other. My hybrid Untamed, which is Celestial build, which is my main build for PvE, and the Druid, which was superior in damage, and also the power one. All the ones I released after Soto have been launched, the latest expansion. However, I felt a bit slow, it felt not that different from playing Untamed. So I came back to the wiki to see if anything have changed instead of checking everything myself, and I found this. Blood Moon have been nerfed for Druid, reducing bleeding duration from 8 seconds to 5 seconds in PvE only, and that is a huge nerf. So Druid been doing some insane damage in solo build at least. I'm not interested in group content, I don't play raids at all, I don't play Fractal or anything like that, I rarely ever touch this side of the game, very rare, like play it once and don't go again. I'm a World vs World player in main, so it was expected to be nerfed. However, I do not like the way ArenaNet have went about it, because Druid have lost a lot of its own value. For a start, let me explain why. This is Blood Moon trait. If you disable the enemy by any form, if you daze them, stun them, knock them down, anything, or immobilize them, it will trigger the bleed on this skill. No internal cooldown, no limit, it doesn't matter. If you do the same skill that do multiple things at the same time, you will trigger it multiple times. The cooldown that you can see is for the days on entering CST avatar, and this bleed have been nerfed a lot. The first problem is ArenaNet have looked to the numbers Druid can do and wanted to take it down a notch and played on Blood Moon, so any source of damage that you can do, immobilize here, daze here, stun on short bow, whatever, it will be lower in damage. However, these numbers are only possible when you rely on Blood Moon completely and trigger it as much as possible, which means, like any build, it depends on the skill you lose. However, there is one pet in the game, which is Jacaranda, that can trigger Blood Moon. So the numbers that ArenaNet tried to tune down are depending on having Jacaranda as the only bit that you don't even switch from, or your DPS will fall significantly. So any bit can have immobilize or CC. Let's take this one for example. As you can see, it immobilized the enemy, but it did not trigger Blood Moon. The bleed you saw at the start is coming from this trait on critical hits. However, Jacaranda's roots can trigger 4 stacks of Blood Moon. It initiates after the first root land and it keeps triggering those bleeds for insane amount of damage obviously. So only using Jacaranda will get you to the numbers that ArenaNet tried to tune down. And I wish they removed the ability for Jacaranda to trigger Blood Moon, so all bits become consistent, not triggering it, and tune our damage after. So the bit can only rely on skill. If it have a CC, if you choose it for that, if you are running something like Turtle for defense, something like Bear for condition cleanse, it doesn't matter. Do whatever you want, the bit will have its own damage, its own stats, and will not care about it. And your damage is the highest possible if you're running Dagger Warhorn and Axe Torch, and we explained that in the build video. It can go a little bit higher than 18k right now on a solo build. But comparing that to the Untamed on our normal build, this one, when you go full tanky with the condition cleanse trait, and the restorative strike for healing, you can go a little bit higher than 16k on an accurate rotation, or even close to 17, which means it's higher than the short bow version. And if you really want full damage, you can get extra boons, but even without it doesn't make that much difference. You can get quickness from let loose and have double ambush every time. So every time you go to a weapon, you will always have your ambush ready, so you will always land it immediately without even changing between the stat of Vow the Untamed. So depending on how you run your rotation, you can even stick to Unleashed state for even higher power damage from Vow the Untamed. And it can go as high as almost 19k DPS, which higher than Druid can do at all, no matter how you run it for a solo build. So the main reason that we play Druid, especially for like the advantage that we had in the build, which it can break 20k DPS, even short bow. So it was much higher damage than Untamed can possibly do, which is the advantage comparing to how much survivability Untamed have. So since I compared the builds in the respective videos, I needed to compare them again for you to have the updated knowledge about them. So Untamed, because Vow the Untamed can be very tanky, reducing power damage incoming to it by insane numbers, have higher vitality than Druid, and have the Unleash ambush skills that can heal it even without restorative strikes for extra healing. It runs Celestial gear, which means it have healing power, so even Rugged Growth, which will heal him on every second of protection, and its pet, even heal him for more, have even boon duration, so the protection happen for more with extra source of protection like this one. If you run restorative strike, it's even more, or another source basically, and can have some tanking and great stability from force fortification. While Druid running a tankier gear style with Trailblazer mostly, but it doesn't have much of damage reduction besides this trait, which is not constant, and it's only 10%. So toughness comparing with trait like that, and they both very close on stability in general, so Druid does not feel tankier. The different choice in gear style does not give it more ability to withstand damage, comparing to better healing, longer protection, higher vitality, and simply better traits to reduce incoming damage, and easier ways for your bit to tank for you, but both of them can make the bit tank from them quite easily. It's not really that big of a deal. Druid may be still a bit superior when it's come to easier CC on Open World, but if you have seen the solo of Muckstalker, you find that both of them still very capable on handling almost any situation. But in simple terms, Untamed is superior if you want higher damage, and superior if you want higher survivability. Because if you find the survivability of simple healing skill and a little bit extra healing from Cesti Avatar with no healing power is good enough to solo legendaries, champion, anything, which is, then you don't need restorative strike, and you can go with let loose and even give quickness to everyone around you. It becomes very effective. And if you find yourself wanting to be more tanky and better survivability, then you better go with something like let loose and go with Untamed to be more tanky in general. Besides, you will always have better damage because Jacaranda doesn't give you this much difference, and you can move to Turtle way easier and have access to extra protection for more healing and more tankiness. So that's simply what changed now. For me, I used to play Druid mainly for the damage. It was very good if I want to do things fast or I don't have the time, because it is the highest damage. Right now, if you imagine Untamed doesn't exist, Druid is very capable. Even older builds like Core Ranger, Soul Beast, which I might make videos about, they are very capable and can do many things. And Druid still, even with the lower damage, can do things that make other builds look helpless against. It is possible to do it with, even if it's slower. So it still has the same value, but not to the same effectiveness, which means I have no reason to play Druid if I'm sticking to my Untamed. It was already my main, so I guess not big of a deal. That will be it for the video, and I will be seeing you next time. Peace.